welcome back to the channel. Welcome if you're new here. My name's Kaitlin, and today's video we are choosing my October TBR. As usual, we will be using my lovely TBR board game because it just works out so good every month. Basically, it's sort of Monopoly style. We start a go, we throw a dice, we move up, and then we have genres all around. And I have these little cards down here with names of books that are on my TBR that I want to read, and then we just choose one. Before we get into choosing my actual TBR, last month was pretty good. September, I really focused on reading the books on my TBR, and I ticked off most of the books that were on my TBR, and I'm very proud of that because the month before that, I nearly didn't even touch my monthly TBR. So I was very proud of September and me being able to finish so many books off of my TBR. This month, however, I have a sneaky little video coming out later in the month, which, if you can imagine, we're entering Halloween season, we're entering the spooky season. So if you can just let your mind wander, use your imagination, there will be a video like that coming out very soon. And I'm very excited about that one. But the books that I'll be reading on that video are going to be chosen on top of my monthly TBR. So I'm not sure how much of my monthly TBR I'm actually going to be able to read. But you know, we're still going to choose a monthly TBR because who knows, maybe I just read books the whole month and I finish all of them anyways. So that is kind of the plan. As always, we're going to be choosing 5 books from this board game. And yeah, without any further ado, lovelies, let's get straight into it. Basically, I have a little paper. This is me. We start a go, I throw a dice, which I kind of have here. We throw a dice. That's not a good idea. It landed on 2, so let's go. 1, 2. Okay, so it landed on science fiction. I don't have any science fiction cards, so we'll have to go and choose a science fiction book from my bookshelf. Okay, next we've got 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's a bit faded, but it's Romantasy. Now I do have a Romantasy card here, so we've got Serpent and the Wings of Night by Carissa Broadbent. Okay, first little book from there. Let's roll the dice. It's just rolling all over. Okay, I think it's a 4. Landed on 4, so let's see what's 4. It's 1, 2, 3, 4. Another Romantasy. This happened last month as well. Like, we were just reading Romantasies all the way. So let's see, Romantasy, A Winter's Promise by Christelle Dabos. So you've got 3 books so far. Roll number 4 is 1. Okay, fantasy. Let's see what our fantasy card says. Immortal Longings by Gong. And then last little roll is 6. Oh my goodness, okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so that is another fantasy. Let's see, The Shadow of the Gods by Gwynne. Okay, so those are my cards. I'm quickly going to go and collect the books that I do own already, and then we can quickly talk about like the synopsis of each book. So I've gotten the books together that I already own. For the science fiction pick, I went ahead and chose Mysterium by Robert Charles Wilson. I saw this book in my bookshelf the other day and I just thought I had to read it based on the synopsis. So basically, one day a town just vanishes out of nowhere, and then they go on to say that morning the men and women of 2 rivers wake up in a world strangely different from their own. A world of curfews, food rationing and secret police. Which to me sounds a lot like the world we live in today. But anyways, and then basically it just goes on to describe, I think we're going to have basically 4 main characters that we are following. There's a school teacher, a child, a woman and a physicist. I'm sure we're going to just follow their journey as they kind of discovered, like, why has their town vanished? What does this mean? Who's in control now? That kind of thing. It sounds a little bit like a dystopian science fiction vibe, so I'm very excited about that. I think that will be very interesting. So that is our first book for the month of October, is Mysterium by Robert Charles Wilson. Then the next book on my TBR for this month is The Serpent and the Wings of Night by Carissa Broadbent. I do have the physical copy of this. I mean, look at that. I added this to my TBR after I saw a girl in the airport walking and reading this book. She was not paying attention whatsoever to everything around her in the airport. She was so transfixed into this book. And I just thought to myself, you know what? I need to have that book. So I have actually no idea what it's about. I'm seeing enemies to lovers, which is my favorite trope. If you don't know, love enemies to lovers. So basically, vampires. I like vampires in books when it's done right, but it can be cringy as well. So I'm a bit skeptical to go into a book filled with vampires. I don't think I knew it was vampires based off of the cover, but it's definitely got vampires. So basically we've got a vampire king, and our main character is going to be his human-born daughter, and she kind of wants to prove herself. So she enters this legendary tournament. Her greatest competition is another vampire. I'm guessing the love story is going to be between a human girl and then the vampire that she is supposedly fighting in this tournament. So basically says an addictive enemies to lovers romance. I mean, what more do you need to read a book? That is The Serpent and the Wings of Night by Carissa Broadbent, book number 2 for our October TBR. Now, the other 3 books that I chose, I do not actually have physical copies of them. I'll either probably read them on my Kindle, or if I really like them, I'll go out and get the physical copies. But I do want to maybe just look on Goodreads to see what they're about. A Winter's Promise. Okay, so first of all, we've got A Winter's Promise. I see it is by Christelle Dabos. I said Damos. Apologies, it's Dabos. Okay, so basically they say the world was like shattered into different floating islands, and each place basically has their own way of living and their unique relationship to time. And I'm guessing Ophelia is going to be our main character. She lives on one of these islands where objects have souls, and she can basically communicate with these souls in the objects and travel through mirrors, who is promised by a guy from one of these other like floating islands. I think they call them arcs, and then obviously we'll see where it goes from there. So that's basically The Winter's Promise by Christelle Dabos. And the next book we've got is The Shadow of the Gods by Gwynne. I see dragons. I see dragons on the cover. Basically, it seems like it's a Norse-inspired world with myth, magic, and bloody vengeance. And it seems like the gods had a big war, drove themselves to extinction, and now there's kind of a new world that's rising, and we follow 3 different main characters and basically how they shape the world. Now, that's really all I can tell you, and it has dragons on the cover. And then the last and final book for this month's TBR is going to be Immortal Longings by Gong. Yeah, I really quite like this cover. Very interesting. Okay, so this looks very interesting. Once again, another book where there seems to be some kind of tournament, championship games where they have to go and compete and, you know, show off their abilities and whatever. And she's basically trying to kill her uncle, I think, which is sort of the king. And in order to get close enough to him to kill him, she needs to win this tournament. And then there's obviously another guy as well who is also entering the tournament for his own reasons. And then basically at the end of kind of says she has to decide what she's playing for, her lover or her kingdom. So I'm guessing she's gonna have to figure out, you know, who she's doing this tournament for. Is it for like revenge and killing her uncle, or is it her love interest? So yeah, there we have it, lovely. Those are the books that I've chosen for, well, that the board game has chosen for our TBR this month. Like I said, I'm not exactly sure through how many of these books I'm actually going to get, because I have a very exciting spooky video coming up in October for Halloween. They have a lovely, thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this video and you enjoyed my little TBR board game choosing our monthly TBR. If you haven't done so already, please remember to like and subscribe. It really does help out my channel. And yeah, just thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all next time. Bye!